Friends, I welcome all of you for this online lecture, that is additional English for semester first, unit number 2, and we are going to discuss here first prose passage from unit number 2. The title of the passage is Do Insects Think? It is by Robert Benchley. Let us think about the the author Robert Benchley. You see, this is a picture of Robert Benchley, and he was born in 1889 and died in 1945. He was an American humorist, and he was a newspaper columnist also. He was a film actor. As far as his literary contribution is concerned, he has written articles to the newspapers like the New Yorker and Vanity Fair. Even he is famous for his literary work, the Harvard Lampoon. As far as his career as an actor is concerned, he has worked in certain short films, for example, How to Sleep, Foreign Correspondent, which was released in 1940, and Nice Girl, that was released in 1941. So, what Robert Benchley tells us in this essay, let us think about the essay. The text, that is the prose passage that we are going to study here, it is published in a magazine. The title of that magazine is Life. In this magazine, he has published his essay Do Insects Think? It is published in 1922, and what he has done in this essay, he has gleefully mocked to the pretentious tone of American science, the cult of pep, productivity, and activity. So, you see, according to the American scientists, what is research? They think that research is something which will indicate your intelligence. And what is intelligence? Doing nothing is something intellectual activity according to the American scientists. And Robert Benchley focuses on this tendency of the American scientists. That is, they are doing nothing and still they are claiming that they are intelligent. Let us think that how he has attacked on this tendency of the American scientists. You see, the psychic life of insects, it was a book published by Professor Bouvier, and in this book he has given certain findings. What are those findings? Not to credit the little winged fellows with intelligence, though they behave with an intelligent manner. So, is there anything to claim like this? Still, he has given the finding that not to credit little winged fellows with intelligence, though they behave with an intelligent manner. So, what that professor is doing, that the professor is focusing that insects have no intelligence. He is focusing on the theory that insects have no intelligence. But is there any need to find out whether insects have intelligence or not? Whether they can think or not? And he says that if we think that insects are intelligent, they are thinking, it means that they are not thinking, but they may be only reacting. We are interpreting their reaction as their intelligence. So, insects have no intelligence. That is what this Professor Bouvier wants to say through this book. But is there any need to give emphasis on such a kind of thing? What is the motive of the book, the psychic life of insects? Such a kind of trivial matters were discussed by the American scientists, and they contribute too much energy for such a kind of fruitless research. So, Robert Benchley wants to underline that the futile activity by these so-called scientists as such. That is why he focuses the findings of Professor Bouvier at the early begin at the early of this essay. In the early beginning of this essay, he says that satirically, not seriously, but satirically, he says, satirically means paradoxically, uh, uh, accepting the things that Professor Bouvier has said and entering in his tempo of argument, he says, Robert Benchley says that he argues an insect behaved with reasoning power. Actually, he wants to tell, paradoxically, he wants to tell that there is no reasoning power in the insects, they have no intelligence, but he will just pull the string of the things that is of the discourse that is started by Professor Bouvier. So that is why he argued an insect behaved with reasoning power, and he says that that indicates intelligence power of the insects. So if the insects are behaving with reasoning power, it means that insects have intelligence. Let us think how he discussed the thing. Okay, so he has given one example of a wasp. He has given evidence for his argument. He says that in the summer of 1899, I was about to write a treatise. What is that treatise? Do larvae laugh? Okay, again it is humorous. Larvae means what we can say, the early step of a butterfly. When the butterfly is about to become a butterfly, that is called as larvae. Do larvae laugh? So larvae does not laugh. There is no possibility of laughing the larvae. Still, only for the sake of humor and only to counter the statement of Professor Bouvier, he enters in his tempo, in Professor Bouvier's tempo, and he just start to give an imaginary incident to uh, Professor Bouvier's argument, to Professor Bouvier's argument as an answer. Do larvae laugh? So he says that I was about in the summer of 1899, I was about to write a treatise, Do Larvae Laugh, and then for that sake we had taken a female wasp at a cottage in Adirondacks. Adirondacks is a place. There is a cottage, that means the cottage may be used as a laboratory to write a treatise on Do Larvae Laugh, and some female wasp was there in the cottage. So he describes the wasp. He says that the wasp was like a child of our own. So you can see in the PPT the picture of a wasp, like a child of our own, and except it looked more like a wasp than a child of our own. So it's such kind of language is used by the scientists. So he just want to comment on the style of their findings, their writing language. They will not write their findings in a simple language, but they will use a certain kind of artificial language. That is what he has done here while proving his point. What he says that the wasp that we brought, it was like a child of our own, except it looked more like a wasp than a child of our own. The way to tell the difference. So how the difference is told? In this way, like a child of our own, except it looked more like a wasp than a child of our own. Okay, so what he says next, let us think about that. Okay, he says that wasp was a young wasp when we got it, 13 to 14 years old. So can we imagine that a wasp of 13 to 14 years old as a young wasp? Again, here he wants to focus on the point that the scientists were doing research on a trivial thing like a wasp, and they were doing their research for 13 to 14 years. Useless research they were doing. So that is why he purposefully mentions that it was a young wasp, and it was 13 to 14 years old. So what do we do in the research? We apply all the human qualities to the wasp. As the human child of 13 to 14 years old is considered as a young, he says that the wasp was 13 to 14 years old. He wants to underline the fact that the scientists were doing research on trivial things for years together. Okay. So we could not get it to eat or drink. It was so shy. Whether the wasp will eat the food offered by the scientist? No, it will not. But still he says that it was the finding. That means when he says that we got a young wasp and we offer it to eat and drink, that means it is an imaginary story. He has not taken some wasp, or he has not offered it to drink or eat, but he just want to comment on the style of the scientists that they were doing under the title research as such. So the wasp was so shy. It was the finding of Robert Benchley. It was a female wasp, so we decided to call it Miriam. And as we have children's nickname, similarly Robert Benchley says that we decided to call it as Pudge from that time to go. Now let us think what this Pudge has done. He says that one evening when he was working late in laboratory, that was the style of the scientist. So he has given his own example only to comment, only to focus on the activities that are done by the scientists under the so called title as research. So he says that one evening I was working late in laboratory, fooling around with some gin and other chemicals. That means he was doing some scientific experiments. And he says that leaving the room I tripped over 9 of diamonds. So the room was not very good, very neat and clean, but it was full with certain kinds of clumsiness and all. So diamonds were there, 9 diamonds were there that we see, such kind of diamonds that we see in the picture in the PPT. He knocked over his card catalogs. So cards, that means name of the wasp and their location and their type and kind, all these things were written on one card. So he has a collection of cards and he has arranged those cards according to their initials or whatever criteria he might have used. So there was a catalog of cards. And why? Because this is a regular practice of the research, that they have catalogs of their own. So the author says that I also had a catalog of wasp, and I dashed that catalog, and what happened that the cards were fallen down on the ground. So catalog, the names and addresses of all the larvae found in North America, that catalog was there. So all the cards were fallen down on the grounds and the cards scattered everywhere. Now what happened? The cards on the ground, I was too tired to pick them up that night. So he was not able to pick up all the cards that night. So I went sobbing to bed, just as mad as I could be. So all the cards were there in the laboratory, and he went to sleep. I noticed the wasp flying about in circle over the scattered cards. That is a practice, that is a common practice of wasp. It will just fly over the things, might be cards, or it is a common practice of wasp that they used to fly on the ground. They don't bother whether the ground is covered with cards or flowers or anything, whatever it may be. So he noticed when the cards were dashed on the floor. At that time, he noticed that the wasp was just flying about in circles over the scattered cards. And then what thought? He thought that maybe Pudge will pick them up. I said half laughingly to myself. So that is the attitude of the scientists. They think like this, that the Pudge is going to collect the cards. Now see what he says. Next morning, when he went to the laboratory again, he found that Pudge was still asleep over in her box. One box was made for Pudge, and that Pudge was sleeping in her box. She was looking tired out. It is the observation of the scientist. Then cards scattered on the floor just as I had left them there. The cards were there as it is. There was no possibility. If we look at the incident, then we can say that there was no possibility that the flying wasp could collect the cards and it will rearrange. But it was the scientist's finding. So-called Robert Benchley behaved as a scientist, and he says that it is my finding that the cards scattered on the floor just as I had left them there. The little insect buzzed about all the night. Again, it was his understanding. When he observed that the fly is sleeping, that means the wasp is sleeping in her box. At that time, it was his understanding that might be the the wasp might have flied over the cards whole night, and now it might have slept after being tired too much. Okay. The little insect buzzed about all night. She was deciding to pick them up and arrange them in the catalog box. Is it possible? No, but it was the finding. So scientists could do anything on their whims, on their own likings. She was deciding to pick them up and arrange them in the catalog. But she knew practically nothing about the larvae of any sort, so she left the work. She would probably make more of a mess of rearranging them. It was the notion of the scientist himself, that the wasp has not collected the cards and arranged them, because she thought that she would make a mess of rearranging them. She left them on the floor for me to fix. So it's a simple thing that the cards were dashed on the floor by the author himself, and just the wasp flied over the card and it went to its resting place. But the finding of the scientist is that the wasp flied over the cards. She was about to pick them up and rearrange them, but she thought that she could not do it, because she would make a mess if she arranged the card catalog. And after thinking all these things, she went to sleep. She left them on the floor for me to fix. It was just too much for her to tackled and discouraged. So it was too much for her. She could not tackle all these things, and she discouraged and she went to sleep. She went to her and lay down in her box. She cried herself to sleep. That was again the finding of the scientist. So he just want to counter to this Professor Bouvier, saying that this is the incident happened with me, and how can you say that in the insects have no intelligence? Actually, Robert Benchley wants to say that insects have no intelligence. There is no need to prove, there is no need to write a book for it, the psychic life of insects. If Professor Bouvier is saying like this in his book, The Psychic Life of Insects, so why should not I counter him to bring him on the right point? If you say that insects have no intelligence, then I will say that insects have intelligence and they have reasoning power now. Why? He has used this essay to make a satire of the findings of Professor Bouvier. It is an answer to Professor Bowyer's statement. He says that all this incident that happened in my life, that the vase flied over the cards and went to sleep in her box, and she might be thinking that I could not rearrange them. It could be a mess of thing. So she went to sleep. She was tired. So you see that this is an answer to Professor Bowier's statement. Insects have no reasoning power. So I say that insects have reasoning power. Actually, he wants to say that whether it is a point to argue with, whether there is a need for scientific research for these things. There is no need of scientific research. If you can say like this, if your scientific research is saying that insects have no intelligence power, then I will give an evidence and I will say that insects have reasoning power. So he says that this is my answer to Professor Bowier's statement: insects have no reasoning power. So if it is not so, then he says that I don't know. So what he says, let me read the last. If this is not an answer to Professor Bowier's statement that insects have no reasoning power, I do not know what is. Okay. So this is something about the prose passage, do insects things. Students are advised that they have to think about the question answers in the text, and they have to try to solve the questions on their own. Okay, so thank you.